Hello everybody, this is Dr. Novak again. In this video I'm going to be talking about a letter that I received. Uh, that's what the video is going to be on, this gentleman's letter that he sent me. He is one of the viewers on my channel. His name is Gary. I won't tell you his last name. And I got permission to let you hear what he writes about him and his trials and tribulations on the anoxic filter. There was one thing he did make mention, that he watched my video on nitrobacteriacea and enterobacteriacea, and he asked for a citation of the study I refer to in the video. As I said in the video, those studies were done at least 12 years ago. The products that were used, some of them may not exist. The thing you should have got out of the video basically was freeze-dried bacteria cultures are not going to be good as those that were in the bottle. Some of them that I got of those bacteria were right from labs, the ones that worked the best. Okay, it used to be, I don't know if you can anymore, used to be where you can mail, they would mail you the bacteria cultures and stuff like that, and some of them would even give you the elements, trace elements that you would need immediately to accelerate the cell growth of the bacteria that they were sending you. I don't know whether today that's possible or not. I'm just telling you, this was about 12 years ago. Most of those products, some of them exist, some of them maybe don't exist. There's products like Microlift, Biozyme. These are freeze-dried products. And do they work as good as the bottle ones? No. But there are some bottle ones out there that are labeled as sludge removers or something like that. You must have very great caution with. Their brands, I did not say what their brands were. As I concluded in the video, that you'll have to see that yourself. But anyhow, in this particular video, he wrote me. He gave me permission that I could use his email. It's a few pages long. The email he sent me, a couple pages long at least. And he tells about, which I like doing a video like this for your benefit, because if you hear somebody else, how they thought, what they thought, how they felt, there are pros and cons about the filter, what they were going to do, what they're not going to do, the research they did, and then you can hear right from another hobbyist their conclusion of what they came up with from the research that they did. Okay, and when I spoke to a PhD of a company, I'm not going to tell you what company, let's just say it's a big company. He said they knew about the anoxic filtration system. They knew about it a long time ago. But he said everybody realized one thing, that if it really worked the way I told everybody, that it would hurt their business, because they are constantly trying to come up with ways of dealing with nitrates and phosphates themselves, where if you get something out that would hurt that business, you don't want people to know. And that's right from the horse's mouth. So you have to understand, this is how this hobby is. It's very secretive. Don't tell, and nobody gets hurt. That's why a lot of people say, oh, I've never heard of the anoxic filtration system. In reality, they have heard of it, they just put it on the back burner because it will hurt commerce. So in this video, stay tuned. I'll get into it. If it's something they're not interested, then you know not to watch the video. Okay, let's get on with the email that he sent me. And I think this is a good idea because it lets a lot of hobbyists hear what other hobbyists are saying and what they understand and why they're doing what they're doing. Okay, he states in his email, I understand you have been attacked and ridiculed over the anoxic filtration, so I guess I can't blame you for being standoffish if you thought I might be have some negative intent. I only asked for a citation so I could look up a study and get the names of the products which you actually worked with. I want to experiment to see if by seeding the BCB with the products, it would speed up the process of colonization of the desired nitrosomatis. He asked me what the name of the products were, and as I said in the video, because all those research was done over 12 years ago, a lot of the products may not exist anymore. What you should have got out of the video was basically any freeze-dried products, stay away from. They're not going to work that great. You're better off just using some of the liquids that are out there. Remember, that was years ago. A lot of companies have improved their way of doing things for the hobbyists, and some of the products actually today do work to some extent. Some people on other channels will say they don't even use those products, but that's why I basically, when he asked me about the products, it's like not to be mean or vindictive or anything else. I wasn't trying to do that. It's just that a lot of these products that are out there, I don't know if they're the same ones that I tested. And one of the products I tested were directly from a company that sold directly to the hobbyists. Okay, that worked the best, but you had to order it. And they sold you live cultures immediately so you can then inoculate your aquarium or whatever you were using. Can you do that today? I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I don't know. Okay, he also goes on, I always wanted to comment on the topic and have mentioned on several occasions about why so many seem to be resistant to and even confrontational about why an anoxic filtration system can't work when they do not know what they are talking about. That's very true. As Ben Shapiro said, that you're allowed to your opinions, but you're not allowed to your own facts. If you're going to give an opinion about something, give the facts, not your facts. Okay? For myself, I still remember my reaction when I first was exposed to the anoxic filtration through your videos. It seemed too good to be true, and when something seems to be good to be true, it usually is. How could something so cheap and relatively easy to be the answer to a nitrate problem that I had been battling for years? If something this easy is so effective and has been around for so long, why have I not heard of it? And that's a very good question. Why haven't you heard of it? Well, I talked to a PhD at one of the large companies. I will leave his name and the company's name out. And he said, yeah, they heard of it. Because I asked him, I said, hey, what's going on here? This thing's been around for years. And they said, yeah, they heard of it. The company's heard of it. I said, oh, really? You know, I was quite impressed. They've heard of it? Oh, yeah, they heard of it. I said, what's happening with this? Why is it that it's not being publicized? He says, well, for us, there's nothing in it for us. Because and that's true. You do have to understand, like the Eli Whitney, for example, we'll give that as an example. He made the cotton gin. And it was so easy to make, nobody bought it. They just copied it. And he spent his whole life suing people over the cotton gin that you can almost say was directly related to the Civil War. Such a product was so easy and worked so well, but it was so easy to make also. So why should I buy it from you? And basically that's it. The anoxic filter or a plenum, it's so easy to make. You know, why are you going to tell anybody about it? Then they'll just make it and won't buy anything from you, as we're trying to come up with all kinds of products out there that will do the denitrification process using our products. Why would we even make mention of something that hobbyists can make so simply that works? And, you know, in a monetary value way, no, that doesn't make sense. And it's true, it doesn't make sense. You are going to just, what they say, you know, cut your own throat. Let's see, even though I was skeptic, I was intrigued, so I started searching for more information about the Anoxic filtration system. It wasn't until I find information about commercial wastewater systems that use anoxic filtration to reduce the number of unwanted products, including nitrates, that I thought maybe this actually would work. If it's possible to scale the process down from a commercial application to a size that would work for an aquarium, the process should work the same way. And that's exactly how I came up with this. I saw that they were using anoxic filters for wastewater treatment, but way too expensive to implement that same technology for an aquarium. It just wouldn't be feasible. So I started working trying to scale everything down and rework everything so it could be easily done. And that's what I found out. It very easily could be done. And when I came up with the anoxic filtration, I thought to myself, well, if it's this easy, why didn't someone come up with this way before I did? I guess that's how all products are made. Why didn't someone come up with this invention before I came up with it and did the research on it, if it's this easy? Okay, further research about the Schobert plenum that you mentioned in one of your videos helped me to understand how the denitrification process works. It is funny to me that even many of the saltwater hobbyists who use and know that the Schobert plenum works think it is kind of magical because it is so utterly, generously simple. And that is very true. But if you see a lot of saltwater hobbyists do not use the plenum system. They just throw their substrate on the bottom of an aquarium, just like now freshwater hobbyists are doing. Finally, after months of reading off and on and hoping that the BCB would actually work, I connected the dots between the Schobert plenum, commercial wastewater system, and BCB. I finally got it that the BCB simply is another generously simple way to get the anoxic conditions found in a plenum and be able to use that technology even for the aquarium already set up or ponds that are not conducive to a plenum system. Another reason that some people reject the beautiful simplicity of a plenum slash BCB technology is that some people, not all people, some people want to think of themselves as the high priestess of aquarium keeping and that they know all there is to know and things must be done the way they say, or you are just wrong. Very true, especially on forums. I remember reading a long and heated discussion thread about anoxic filtration where one of the participants had a PhD in microbiology, and he kept saying it was impossible for anoxic filtration to work because the nitrosomatists would always prefer to use oxygen first, and since the anoxic conditions were not anaerobic, there would be always the oxygen availability. This threw me for a little while, but then I found documentation of Anoxic commercial wastewater system. The engineer described the system, fully understood that nitrosomatis would use oxygen if available, but also documented that anoxic conditions provided the right environment for nitrosomatic denitrification. The guy with the PhD in microbiology that thought he knew everything there was to know about the subject, but the wastewater treatment engineer had actual real-world results, and the engineer doesn't get paid if the system doesn't work. At that point, I would say I was cautiously optimistic about the anoxic filtration system. I wanted to test it as proof of concern, or proof of concept, I should say, before I committed to a plenum in my next aquarium setup. I devised a simple above-the-tank sump using a 42-inch plastic window box, planter box, to house the BCB. The three photos that I show you of the planter box are the ones he sent me. While the design was totally suboptimal with regard to water flow around the media, after a couple months I had proven to myself that it actually does work. Previously, my nitrates were never below 40 parts per million, and if I did not change 40% of the water at least weekly, the nitrates would just keep rising to 50, 80, and 120 parts per million. The later only happened when I had extended hospitalization and the maintenance was not done. After the BCB matured, the nitrates never went above 50 parts per million, even if I did no water changes. I knew that the 50 parts per million is not great for nitrates, but I had to let it go for a while to see actually the results of the BCB. Even though my BCB design was not great, it still worked. I have just this past weekend transitioned the BCB to a canister filter. I had an old canister not in use and made a cylinder out of craft mesh screen to hold the media. I use Safety Zorb and Brightwell Aquatics Laterite powder. Let's see, I don't know if that's the powder I use. I cut round outs in the media baskets of the canister to hold the cylinder in position. So apparently he had a canister that had the baskets in it, so he just cut great big holes in each one of the baskets and then slipped the media basket that he made through them. Let's see. I connected the output of the main canister filter to the input of the BCB canister filter and the output of the BCB canister filter to the aquarium return. I'm anxious to see what the results will be. I expect much better results since I will have easily 20 times the water flow around the media compared to the small pump I use in the overflow sump. So here you have a hobbyist that did it himself, wrote about how he made it into a canister filter and the results he had when he did make an experimental BCB, which I think is great. This is what hobbyists need to do. They need to get the word out to other hobbyists that use it, or the ones watching my videos, and let you know from the hobbyist's mouth, as they say, you're hearing it right from the horse's mouth, about how they thought about it and how they implement it and how it worked for them. That's what these videos are all about. So everyone can learn how it works and why it works and their results. And it's nice to get these letters, emails and stuff of people and their photographs to show that this is what I did. I was in doubt of the whole system and it worked for me. Does it work for everybody? If anyone says it works for everybody, they would be lying to you. That's not the facts. There is no filter out there being made today that is going to work 100% for 100% of the people using it. Believe me, I've heard disastrous stories over every way you can imagine making a filtration system that's out there. None is perfect, even those made by manufacturers. There is no one perfect filtration system out there. So I thought I would do this video to let everybody hear what somebody else is saying. I had permission from the guy, and he said, yeah, you can use it, because it's good that you hear what people are saying. And it's good that when I get these emails and stuff like that, that I can personally tell you of what they did and how successful they are. And if you look at the picture here, and he says how high his nitrates were, look at the picture and look at the plant that looks like it's growing out of his aquarium. And you kind of think to yourself, using the plant, wouldn't that take care of all his nitrates? It's just a question I'm asking. Okay, so until next time, this is Dr. Novak. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you stay tuned for other videos.